let's just look at the Eastern Conference before we narrow down the possibilities of the teams that the Celtics will be playing. The New York Knicks leapfrogging the Milwaukee Bucks. From your two perspectives, which of the fact that Milwaukee is now 3 and New York is 2, which of those teams do you think have a bigger impact on the way the Eastern Conference could potentially shake out?
What you got, Gary?
I say the New York Knicks. They're playing well. Milwaukee, I watched a lot of their game against Orlando. They couldn't score. Like, they just did not look engaged. I know it was without Giannis, but they played all the rest of their guys, Lillard, Portis, Middleton. They were trying to get that number 2 seed, and Orlando just basically shut them down. And they're coming into the playoffs with zero momentum. I don't know what to make of the Bucks in terms of now they get Indiana, a team I think that's beaten them 4 times this year, right? Indiana's got their number. There's a rivalry there. So that will be a very, very interesting series, contentious series to watch because those two teams do not like each other. Remember the game ball thing with Giannis chasing some dude down? Like, all that's gone on. And Indiana's had their number. Indiana beat them in the in-season tournament. So if you're the Bucks, you're not going in with momentum and you're playing a team, your defense is not good and you're playing a team that can score 150 points. So the Knicks, I was completely impressed with their effort. They play hard. Now, will those guys get worn out, in a series because Tibbs plays those guys heavy minutes? But I just like their chemistry, man. They got teamwork. They're not like past Knicks teams where they were just, some guys are probably looking forward to their next contract. It seems like all those guys like playing for Tibbs. They like playing in New York. That's a big deal. Some guys don't like playing in New York. Some guys ready to move on to the next stop. This team, very, very cohesive. They play well together. Brunson's the straw that stirs the drink. So I think they're a dangerous club. But in all honesty, guys, if that's the second best team in the East and the Celtics are 4-1 against them this year, you got to like the Celtics' chances. This is like the Celtics got to just get out of their own way in the first round. I like their draw. The winner of Cleveland, Orlando in the second round, if they get past the first round, two teams that they should be able to beat in 5 games. I would say Orlando's not the team that has been real physical. They've had a little drop off, and Cleveland has not played well at all. That was interesting. Cleveland kind of blowing their chance at the number 2 seed, losing to Charlotte. Orlando making it all the way to the 5th seed. I don't think we expected that. And so I think now the Celtics, they see the road ahead of them. Now it's time to take care of business. But I think the Knicks are the team that they have to look out for and keep in their rearview mirror. That will be a really interesting Eastern Conference Finals if we get there.
See, here's the thing. I'm going to take a little bit of a more circuitous route than our good friend here.
Okay, Eric. SAT word.
Shout out to my SAT prep
circuitous
back in the day.
You spell that word. You can't spell that. What? Fortuitous.
Scholar.
Me, Gary. Listen, here's the thing about what we're seeing now. While New York has played their way to be the second best team, I still think Milwaukee will have a bigger impact on the playoff series. And hear me out. They're going to open up against Indiana, right? Indiana, I think, will, at a minimum, take them to 6 or 7 games. A lot will just depend on whether Giannis is able to play. And if he is able to play some, they'll win that series. But it's going to take a lot out of them to do that. And New York will be waiting around the corner. I think Milwaukee will give New York a good go, but they're going to make New York work really hard to get to that next round. And the point that I'm trying to make is whoever the Celtics see once they get to the conference finals, because at a minimum, that's what we're talking about here when you talk about Milwaukee, New York. That team is going to have to work so much harder than Boston will have worked to get there. And because they're going to have to work so much harder, and because Boston on paper is a better team, I have this weird feeling that as the playoffs roll along, Boston's road to get there is going to get easier. Like that first round matchup, I think is going to be the toughest one that they see. Because more likely than not, they're going to have to deal with either Philadelphia or Miami. And if Philadelphia, if they could have had Joel Embiid for 5 more games, they're probably number 2 seed. So in theory, the Celtics, you're probably playing the second or third best team in the Eastern Conference in the first round. Get past them, you're looking at what, Orlando, Cleveland, you should be able to disperse them in no more than 6 games. And if you get to the finish line in the East, where you've got a beaten up, battered up Milwaukee team or a beaten up, battered up New York team, who, by the way, won't have, they're at some point, not having Julius Randle is going to really impact them. If you're Boston, the road has been set. You could not possibly ask for an easier ride throughout the playoff journey than what they're going to get. It's going to start off a little rough with that first round matchup, but it gets progressively, I think, easier for you to move on to the next round going forward. So Milwaukee, and it all starts with Milwaukee. It all starts with Milwaukee slipping down to that 3 spot and facing and Gary, you're spot on about this. This is the absolute worst matchup that they could have got. This is the worst draw they could have got in the first round. And that being said, I feel even better about the Celtics' chances of getting to the finals now when I look at just the way the playoff seedings are going to work out. Because again, you want to be playing your best basketball as you get deeper into the postseason. And the way this playoff schedule is set up, they're going to be playing teams that they're going to be, I think, match up better with as they get further into the playoffs, which is unusual because usually it's the other way around. The further you get, the harder the matchup is. I don't think that'll be the case this year, though.